The path that Arnold Schwarzenegger has taken, beginning from his modest beginnings in a tiny Austrian hamlet and culminating in his triumphs in Hollywood and politics, is nothing short of really legendary. The Terminator himself, a bodybuilder, film office behemoth, and former governor, is the subject of this episode of Past Paradise, in which we delve deeply into his life and the iron-pumped lifestyle he led. But beyond the muscles and movies, Arnold's life is full of unexpected twists and turns. Did you know that he earned his first $1 million before working in the entertainment industry via astute real estate investments? The fact that he previously smuggled bodybuilding pills over international boundaries as a kind of art? The less well-known parts will be revealed, beginning with his rigid upbringing and ending with his battle with English. We'll also discuss his rise to prominence as a fitness star and a worldwide symbol of discipline. Other topics that'll be discussed include his family, comeback roles, current efforts with Netflix, and what motivates him at the age of 77. And just when you thought you heard all there is to know on the subject, Arnold recently revealed the 5 performers he just couldn't tolerate to collaborate with. And the reasons he gave may surprise you. Whether you're a fan of Predator, Pumping Iron, or his Instagram posts in which he chews cigars, this one is filled with powerful moments, personal truths, and some amusing, jaw-dropping facts that demonstrate why Arnold continues to be an unstoppable force in the world of pop culture. Last but not least, he revealed to us the 5 performers whom he detested the most, and we were taken aback. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who's now 77 years old, startled audiences in an honest interview in the year 2025 when he listed the 5 Hollywood stars that he used to despise. Despite the fact that he didn't name all 5, he did disclose that he and Sylvester Stallone have been enemies for a considerable amount of time. He referred to their rivalry as nasty and competitive to the core. Their feud, which dominated the action scene in the 1980s, was finally resolved when they worked together on a project at Planet Hollywood. Arnold provided indications regarding other names, such as celebrities with whom he had issues owing to his enormous ego and the amount of time he had. Even though he has since made peace with the majority of the conflicts that led to his illustrious career, it highlighted the harsh struggles that contributed to his success. Arnold Schwarzenegger's humble Austrian roots are the source of his Born to Lift. The year 1947 saw Arnold Schwarzenegger's birth in Thal, an Austrian town located in close proximity to Graz. He was raised there without access to electricity or running water. The fact that he was impoverished after the war and had a great desire to overcome it influenced the early years of his life. The bodybuilder Reg Park was featured on a movie poster in Graz in 1961, which prompted Arnold to start doing weights at a gym conveniently located nearby. At the age of 20, he had attained the title of Mr. Universe. Arnold Schwarzenegger's childhood house is now the Arnold Schwarzenegger Museum, which chronicles his journey to prominence as an actor, leader, and bodybuilder. The museum depicts the tale of his climb from a tiny hamlet in Austria to renown internationally. How Arnold's childhood made him a world icon. Arnold Schwarzenegger spent his childhood in Austria, which was recovering from World War II. His formative years were marked by a strong drive, a disciplined work ethic, and a lot of hard labor. During his childhood, he resided in Thal, a tiny town located close to Graz. His father, who had served as the head of police and fought in World War II, was in charge of maintaining order in the area. Arnold lacked the contemporary luxuries and cerebral stimulation that he needed. Thus, he desired to leave and begin his journey toward greatness. Following his observation of Reg Park's performance as Hercules when he was 14 years old, he developed an interest in bodybuilding. It was via this passion that he was able to flee. The challenging circumstances that he went through didn't break him, rather they strengthened his will to succeed. His climb to prominence in sports, cinema, and politics all around the globe was propelled by the same passion that propelled him to success. Arnold's life was altered when he embarked on a perilous journey from Austria to the United States. Arnold Schwarzenegger relocated from Austria to the United States in 1968 when he was just 21 years old and had an ambition but very little English. As a result of his passion and the influence of Reg Park, he decided to take a risk and go to the United States. Arnold's vacation was paid for by Joe Weider, a renowned player in the area of fitness, since Weider recognized Arnold's ability to perform very well. When Arnold went to California, he encountered a transition in culture as well as difficulties in his finances, but he never gave up. He was able to achieve success by taking that hazardous decision. He won Mr. Olympia on many occasions. He entered the Hollywood industry, and in 1983, he became a citizen of the United States. The decision he made to leave Austria altered the course of his life and had an enduring influence all over the globe. Arnold's journey to become Mr. Universe, which he took before the majority of individuals graduate from college. The record for the youngest individual ever to win the title of Mr. Universe was set by Arnold Schwarzenegger, who won the competition in 1967 at the age of 20. The world of bodybuilding was taken aback by this. Arnold had already constructed a physique that was powerful, symmetrical, and captivating, while the majority of individuals his age were still trying to figure out how to have a successful college experience. Prior to establishing himself on the international scene, he was the dominant figure in European tournaments. He adhered to a rigorous diet that was strong in protein and worked out for up to 5 hours every day. Not only was his victory in London a noteworthy accomplishment for him, but it also served as the event that marked the beginning of his career all over the globe. Even in the year 2025, his feat continues to serve as a benchmark for younger athletes who have the ambition to shatter records and redefine what it means to be physically great. Arnold's conflict with other bodybuilders. The truth behind the stories. In order to achieve his goal of being the greatest bodybuilder of all time, Arnold Schwarzenegger did not have to contend with any formidable competitors. Sergio Oliva, affectionately referred to as the Myth, was the most well-known adversary. There's a famous rivalry between Oliva and Arnold that began after Oliva won the Mr. Olympia competition in 1969. Mike Menser, whose high-intensity training was in direct opposition to Arnold's strategy of putting in a lot of effort, became the source of yet another heated quarrel between the two. A quarrel broke out between them behind the scenes at the legendary Olympia in 1980, and it came dangerously close to being violent. Frank Zane, who is well known for having a fantastic figure, was another person who put Arnold through his paces. Not only did these events include the awarding of prizes, but they also had a considerable influence on the development of bodybuilding throughout the duration of time. Fans continue to speak about those conflicts all the way up to the year 2025. They represented a period when the public saw a confrontation between the body, the mind, and the ego. Upon their first encounter, Arnold and Franco Columbu had a close connection with one another. A bodybuilding tournament held in Munich in 1965 was where Arnold Schwarzenegger first came into contact with Franco Columbu. The two individuals became friends and continued to be friends for many years. Both of them were outsiders who had the ambition to do big things. By working out together at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach and even starting a bricklaying company, they were able to support their aspirations and provide for their families. Franco, who is from Sardinia and had won the title of Mr. Olympia twice, was sometimes referred to as pound for pound stronger than Arnold. Arnold assisted Franco with the construction of his home, and when they were not working out at the gym, the two of them would make wine together. Arnold's 2023 documentary series on Netflix paid tribute to Franco's relationship by describing it as the most important male friendship he had had in his life. Franco passed away in 2019. Arnold's method of English acquisition was insane. He watched Westerns. Arnold Schwarzenegger arrived in the United States of America in the year 1968. He spoke English with difficulty and had a strong accent that was reminiscent of Austria. As he was motivated to achieve success in Hollywood, he studied American Westerns such as Rawhide and Bonanza in order to master the language. The way that celebrities like Clint Eastwood and John Wayne stressed words and talked was something that he would watch over and over again, and he would emulate it. Interestingly, he was able to comprehend slang, rhythm, and cultural subtleties with the assistance of this approach. Arnold exerted a lot of effort, and it was rewarded. In addition to receiving speech coaching, he attended formal English lessons. Even in the year 2025, his tale continues to be presented as an illustration of how individuals can overcome language barriers and gain popularity all across the globe through the application of hard work and ingenuity. Arnold came dangerously close to losing the role due to his accent. In the late 1970s, Arnold Schwarzenegger attempted to audition for the role of Superman in the film directed by Richard Donner in 1978. However, his thick Austrian accent almost prevented him from being cast in the role by Richard Donner. In spite of the fact that Arnold made it through multiple rounds, Marlon Brando, who portrayed Jor-El, supposedly declined the job because he believed that people would not comprehend him. This rejection was a turning moment that almost put a stop to his aspirations of becoming a renowned actor in the film industry. In a peculiar turn of events, the accent that many used to consider to be an issue became his hallmark. In 2025, Arnold looks back on this period of time as a turning moment, demonstrating that the things that make you uniquely you may influence your memory in the most peculiar ways. The reasons why Arnold's acting career came so close to being terminated by Conan the Barbarian. It was the 1982 film Conan the Barbarian that brought Arnold Schwarzenegger to fame, but it was also the film that almost prevented him from pursuing a career in acting. Due to the difficult production of the picture, he was compelled to engage in dangerous physical activities, such as crawling on rocks until his skin bled and battling actual animals. This was necessary since there were no stunt doubles that were large enough to provide a suitable replacement for him. Arnold was also advised by the director, John Milius, to reduce his weight since he believed that he was too ripped to belong in the barbarian category. Given that he had a thick accent and an odd body, Hollywood was unaware of the fact that he had the potential to become a starring man. Critics were not too enthusiastic about him. In spite of this, in the year 2025, people remember Conan as the one who first established a legend. Everything you need to know about his audition for the film Terminator. In the beginning, Arnold Schwarzenegger auditioned for the role of Kyle Reese in Terminator. He wasn't interested in playing the lead character, the robot, however. At first, director James Cameron was uncertain about the decision since he believed that Arnold's size and accent were two distracting factors. While this was going on, editors were thinking about O.J. Simpson. Cameron had considered casting Simpson in the part of the Terminator. However, he ultimately decided against doing so because he believed Simpson was too likable to be a genuine murderer. During their lunch conversation, Arnold's insightful comprehension of the Terminator's thought process left Cameron feeling impressed. This conversation resulted in a different recruiting decision. This unexpected turn of events continues to be one of the most stunning hiring changes in Hollywood in the year 2025, illustrating that gut emotions, rather than paperwork, may create the history of the film industry. This is the very first thing that James Cameron thought of Arnold and how it altered the course of history. In 1983, when James Cameron first met Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was unsure whether or not to put him in the role of the Terminator, but ultimately decided to cast him. Cameron envisioned an adversary that would be less conspicuous, namely someone who would be able to blend in with the larger group. In the course of a lunch conversation, Arnold provided Cameron with a compelling description of how a machine ought to move and think. As a result, Cameron modified the work in order to accommodate Arnold's skills. To this day, in the year 2025, Cameron continues to identify that particular event as the defining moment that shaped both of their lives into what they are now. Later, he said, "We would have made a good movie, but not a legendary one. That one chat was the catalyst that transformed a science fiction thriller into a series that was successful across the globe." Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger engaged in a fight that became renowned around the world. Both Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were engaged in a fierce competition in the 1980s to establish themselves as the most renowned and influential action stars in Hollywood. As a result of their intense competitiveness, There were exchanges of public insults, confrontations at the box office, and even claims of sabotage. They hated each other and constantly sought to outdo each other in terms of size, strength, and daring, according to Arnold, who reportedly said that they hated each other. In the 1990s, when they both invested money in Planet Hollywood together, the conflict came to an end and they became friends, which was a pleasant surprise. As of the year 2025, their narrative has been turned into a story with joint interviews and videos demonstrating how the two movie and muscle stars came to admire each other as a result of their rivalry. Before he became renowned in Hollywood, Arnold had a covert job that gave him the opportunity to become a billionaire. Before Arnold Schwarzenegger became renowned in Hollywood, he put in a lot of effort to build a prosperous real estate firm. As a result of his hard work, he was able to become a billionaire by the time he was 25 years old. He invested his prize money from weightlifting and his earnings from mail-order workout programs in apartment complexes in Los Angeles during the housing boom that occurred in the 1970s. He made his first down payment of $27,000 on a building that had many flats, which he later sold for a large profit. Arnold persisted in using this strategy, reinvesting the money he generated back into the company and also collecting revenue from rental properties. At the point in time when he was offered important roles in movies, he had already established himself financially. People continue to look at his early investments as a blueprint for how to manage a firm with great insight in the year 2025. What Arnold gave up in order to get what he wanted behind the muscles. Unwavering self-sacrifice was a defining characteristic of Arnold Schwarzenegger's climbing to prominence. Despite having low financial means and English abilities, he left his family, friends, and home country of Austria when he was in his early 20s in order to chase a goal in the United States. Because he was so focused on being in shape, he worked out twice a day and often missed parties, holidays, and even sleep. Because of his stringent diet and rigorous habits, he was unable to make acquaintances, but he maintained his concentration. Arnold endured a number of challenges in Hollywood, including injuries, criticism, and rejection before achieving success. Even today, in 2025, his narrative continues to serve as an illustration of discipline, demonstrating that behind every clenched muscle was a determination to suffer agony in order to achieve public recognition. Reasons why Arnold entered the political arena and became governor. Arnold Schwarzenegger's decision to enter politics was not just a marketing tactic, rather it was a purposeful choice that was founded in his longtime love for leadership and a desire to assist other people. In addition to fitness and Hollywood, Arnold believed that politics would be the next great thing. At an early age, he joined Austria's right-wing youth clubs, which sparked his interest in politics. Later on, Ronald Reagan served as a source of motivation for him. He campaigned against Governor Gray Davis in a recall election in 2003 when the state of California was going through a difficult time financially and also with its energy supply. His message of transformation, charm, and being an outsider was enjoyable to those who heard it. It's anticipated that by 2025, Arnold's tenure as governor will be regarded as a courageous change that blended the force of celebrity with tangible social influence. The woman who struck through tragedy and glory is included in the book. Over the course of 25 years, Arnold Schwarzenegger was married to Maria Shriver. In addition to being a well-known author, she was a member of the Kennedy family. Throughout his rise to prominence in Hollywood and politics, she was Arnold's wife. Their marriage received a lot of attention from people all around the globe, particularly while he was serving as governor of California. In 2011, however, they discovered that Arnold had fathered a kid with their housekeeper, which ultimately led to the dissolution of their partnership. The year 2021 marked the beginning of Arnold and Maria's divorce, although by the year 2025 they remain extremely close friends. The fact that they're raising their 4 children together and openly supporting one another's ambitions demonstrates that respect can continue even in the face of the most severe betrayals, whether they're known or unknown to the public. This is the story of Arnold versus Sylvester Stallone, the fight, the friendship, and the last laugh. The battle between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone started in the late 1970s and became more intense in the 1980s. This rivalry was driven by ego, competitiveness in the film business, and attention from the media. Threats were made, contests were held to determine who could murder the most people on television, and even dangerous misinformation were spread and spread. When Arnold was accused of being a Nazi, it's believed that Stone disseminated a false accusation against him, which resulted in a libel lawsuit and an apology in public. Their dispute, on the other hand, was resolved when they worked together in the 1990s to establish Planet Hollywood. In 2024, they posted a video about their journey, and both of them said that the competition had helped them become happier and more confident. As of the year 2025, they're lauded as brothers who grew closer to one another via the medium of war films. The phrase, "I'll be back," was never included in the original screenplay. What transpired instead is as follows. In the beginning, the iconic phrase, "I'll be back," from The Terminator in 1984 was not included in the screenplay. It was supposed to be, "I'll come back." During the filming process, director James Cameron and Arnold Schwarzenegger disagreed over the phrasing, with Arnold preferring "I'll be back" owing to his accent. Cameron desired for the shorter version to bring forth a more significant impact. It was after the fact that they chose the famous speech from among the several takes that they had taken. When people discovered the danger that was hiding beyond the barrier, they laughed and screamed in surprise. By the year 2025, it continues to be one of the lines that's been mentioned the most in the history of movies. A simple statement was transformed into a cultural and cinematic landmark as a result of a decision that was made at a random starting point. Arnold's most risky stunt, from which he came dangerously close to failing. The performance that he was doing was supposed to mimic a typical swimming routine. He was required to enter a pool that was covered with a sheet and then return to the exact location where he entered the pool in order to complete the scene. Nevertheless, as he was submerged in water, he grew disoriented and was unable to locate a means to escape. As he ran out of breath, he started to feel terrified. Within a fraction of a second, Billy Lucas, who was acting as a stunt double, saw that something was amiss and rushed to his rescue. The fact that Arnold continues to claim it was the closest he's ever come to passing away on set in the year 2025 is a terrifying reminder of how hazardous action heroes might find themselves. Discover Arnold's humorous side in Kindergarten Cop, which has everything from action to laughter. By the time Kindergarten Cop was released in the 1990s, Arnold Schwarzenegger had transformed his image from that of an action hero to that of a comedic star. There was a surprising amount of comedy that he displayed throughout the movie. Arnold's portrayal of a tough investigator who had to go undercover as a kindergarten teacher in order to cope with the mayhem of 5-year-olds, resulting from him uttering iconic phrases such as, "It's not a tumor." Arnold was able to demonstrate that he was capable of more than just firing weapons and showing off his muscles. Since the movie was a huge success at the box office, it was still a fan favorite and a turning point in his career in 2025, demonstrating how he became more vulnerable and hilarious without abandoning his larger-than-life image. It was a turning point in his career. The time when Arnold pretended to go to Gold's Gym in order to fool everyone. In a joke that took place in 2014 at Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, Arnold Schwarzenegger used the name Howard Kleiner to masquerade as a mustachioed trainer. This prank is still being discussed today in the year 2025. Fans of his organization, After School All-Stars, rapidly spread the video of the joke all over the globe. He also advised individuals at the gym hilarious training suggestions while wearing a wig and a phony accent. For example, he instructed them to do 10 reps of water sipping. Despite the fact that he was dressed up, the majority of people recognized him immediately anyway. It was clear from this that his statements and face were too well known to be concealed. In 2025, the movie was unearthed once more as a component of a contemplation about significant charitable effort. The fact that Arnold's charisma and sense of humor are equally as powerful as his muscles was brought to the attention of enthusiasts. A number of aspects of his family and personal life are very regrettable to him. The year 2025 marked the point at which Arnold Schwarzenegger had openly contemplated the personal cost of his quest. His biggest sadness, according to him, is the grief that was created by the controversy that surrounded his affair in 2011. It was revealed that he had fathered a kid with the family's much-loved maid, which resulted in the dissolution of his marriage to Maria Shriver, and had a profound impact on the children he had. Arnold said in interviews and in the documentary series he produced for Netflix in 2023 that he did not adhere to the ideals that he preached. At the same time, he described it as a major failure and said that the betrayal continues to affect him. In spite of the fact that he's established stable ties, he's aware that some scars will never completely heal, particularly those that are close to home. Following his departure from politics, Arnold struggled with depression. Following his departure from office in 2011, Arnold Schwarzenegger went through a period of acute mental depression. Both a personal controversy and a general exhaustion with politics were the root causes of this. It was the dissolution of his marriage and the attention that the public paid to his infidelity that caused him to feel isolated. Arnold admits to suffering depression in his 2023 Netflix docuseries, describing it as a fog that wouldn't lift. He coped with it by adhering to routines, such as working out early in the morning, writing in a notebook, and reconnecting with old acquaintances who he had lost touch with, such as Franco Colombo's family. In particular, his participation in the after-school All-Stars program was essential in his discovery of a new purpose in life, which he discovered via therapy and volunteer work. Arnold claims that by the year 2025, the two most significant things that assisted him in regaining his concentration and aiming calm were discipline and service. The day when Arnold walked through flames to assist a fellow actor who was having a day that was not going well. During the many days that were spent together shooting Terminator 2: Judgment Day, Arnold Schwarzenegger saw his co-star, Robert Patrick, trying to cope with the mental and physical strains of playing the T-1000. Patrick was not a very well-known actor at the time, and he was concerned that director James Cameron would terminate his employment despite the fact that he'd put in a lot of effort. In order to demonstrate his support for Patrick, Arnold proposed that they do a risky fire act together. Patrick gained greater self-assurance as a result of this, and he won the respect of the squad. It wasn't just about carrying out a task, it was also about acting as a guide. Patrick continues to consider that day to be essential, stating that Arnold's unobtrusive encouragement assisted him in overcoming his uncertainties about himself and provided him with a performance that altered the course of his future. The role that Arnold declined to play, which went on to become a huge success at the box office. Arnold Schwarzenegger was presented with the opportunity to play the role of Stanley Goodspeed in the captivating action picture The Rock, which was released in 1996 and made more than $335 million worldwide. Arnold declined the role at the time because the screenplay was incomplete and full of scribbles and vague character ideas. He thought the script was too much work. After some time had passed, he said he was unable to continue working on the project that didn't seem to be complete. In the end, Nick Cage was selected for the role, and his performance was important in launching him into a new phase of his career. Arnold said in public this is the most significant error he's made in his career up to the year 2025, and he's indicated that The Rock might have added another significant achievement to his list of accomplishments. The distressing journey he took back to Austria and the things he shared with the people there. A profoundly personal excursion that was both emotional and significant was taken by Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2023 when he went back to Thal, Austria, the place where he had spent his childhood months. While he was standing outside the humble home where he'd spent his childhood, which is now a museum, he addressed a gathering of supporters from all around the globe at the same time. Arnold explained, in both English and German, how he went from being a little child from a rural community to being a person who's known all over the world. He expressed his gratitude to the community for preserving his legacy and encouraged young Austrians to dream meaningful dreams regardless of the circumstances. The visit would be remembered by people as a pleasant return that linked his history with his enduring effect on the globe by the year 2025. Why Arnold made the decision to go on a diet consisting mostly of vegetables when he was in his 70s. Arnold Schwarzenegger made a dramatic shift toward a diet that mostly consisted of plant-based foods when he was in his 70s. He acted in this manner because he was worried about the situation of the globe as well as his own mental health. In order to bring down his blood pressure and cholesterol levels, his physicians advised him to consume less red meat after he had undergone many heart operations. Arnold responded by consuming 70% less meat and replacing it with vegetables, legumes, and other plant-based nutrients. According to him, the adjustment provided him with more vitality, assisted him in thinking more clearly, and enhanced the health of his heart. Additionally, he was aware of the positive effects that the diet had on the environment as a result of his participation in the documentary titled The Game Changers. Arnold continues to be a staunch supporter in the year 2025, proving that one may achieve strength and vigor without ingesting an excessive quantity of meat. In order to maintain his physical fitness at the age of 77, Arnold does. The fact that Arnold Schwarzenegger is 77 years old does not prevent him from adhering to a morning regimen that's both rigorous and invigorating. The routine begins with him getting up at about 5:30 in the morning, feeding his animals, such as his pig, Schnelly, and his tiny horse, Whiskey, and then going directly to the gym without giving it any consideration. At this point, the majority of his exercises are performed on machines, with a particular emphasis on knee health and safety. In under 30 minutes, he completes 25 to 30 sets. After this, he goes for a brief bike ride and then has a breakfast that's mostly composed of vegetables. To prevent himself from feeling ill in the morning, Arnold keeps himself occupied and is present. By the year 2025, his actions will be seen as a fantastic illustration of how to age with confidence, purpose, and a little bit of fun. Both a donkey and a tiny horse are in Arnold's possession. Whiskey, a miniature horse, and Lulu, a donkey, are among the animals who call Arnold Schwarzenegger's farm in Brentwood, California, home. In addition to being a treasure trove of Hollywood antiques, the property also serves as a secure haven for her. In the course of the epidemic, these two canine companions rose to prominence on the internet. Their appearances on Arnold's culinary programs were frequent, and they even made an appearance on live television conversations with him. They continue to be a part of his day-to-day existence in the year 2025. It's not a problem for them to go about the home and sometimes take his oatmeal cookies. Arnold claims that being in their presence brings him joy and a sense of calm since it brings back memories of his humble beginnings on an Austrian farm. Due to the fact that fans like how they behave, they've become unofficial icons for Arnold's more compassionate side. The murky business that led to his return to the Hollywood scene. Arnold Schwarzenegger's aspirations to return to the film industry were met with skepticism after he took a sabbatical from acting in order to focus on politics. In 2013, his return film, The Last Stand, didn't do well at the box office, and critics questioned whether or not consumers still want action movies in his manner. Arnold, on the other hand, retreated and opted for roles that were appropriate for his age and reputation. These roles include Fubar in 2023, which was a surprise smash on Netflix, and Terminator Dark Fate from 2019. Additionally, he was known for his self-parodying and mentoring activities, and he received acclaim from others for his progress and humility. His reappearance is not considered as a return to form by the year 2025. Rather, it's seen as a fresh beginning. The fact that even legends may still surprise us is shown by this. The advice that Arnold would give to the next generation of daring dreamers. The ideas of tenacity, vision, and unrelenting action that Arnold Schwarzenegger embodied will continue to motivate young people to think critically until the year 2025. He's known to remind students and those who want to be creators, dreams are for dreamers, but goals are for achievers. And he says this rather often. His counsel stresses the need of having a distinct goal, ignoring others who have doubts, and accepting failure as a normal component of the process of personal development. Arnold advises the young people of today to put in a lot of effort, strive to be hungry, and assist others around them. As far as he's concerned, success is not just about achieving one's own goals, rather it's about assisting other people. His speeches and postings on social media continue to act as a rallying call for anybody who's interested in making their goals come true. How does Arnold manage to stay going despite the fact that he has a pacemaker? Despite having a cardiac condition that he's had since infancy and having had prior operations, Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't slow down once he received a pacemaker in the beginning of 2024. Even more quickly, he moved. He claims that he's able to remain going at the age of 77 by maintaining an orderly lifestyle, working out on a regular basis, and having the desire to inspire others via his podcast called Arnold's Pump Club. Through his frequent use of the phrase, "I turned into a little more of a machine," he often used the machine as a metaphor for his capabilities. Despite the fact that Arnold is still teaching, riding bikes, and creating movies in the year 2025, he demonstrates that mistakes are just possibilities for recovery. His message is unmistakable. To triumph against old age and adversity, one must have a sense of purpose, discipline, and a strong desire to give back. He continues to lift weights and exercise on a daily basis, despite being 77 years old. Schwarzenegger exercises on a daily basis, not for the sake of his appearance, but for his health. By 77 years old, he's been working out for decades. He now considers physical activity to be an essential kind of maintenance, comparable to cleaning your teeth for your body. He now places a greater emphasis on utilizing tools that are gentler on the joints, lifting lesser weights, and doing more repetitions in order to keep his muscle tone and mobility in good condition. Arnold has said that lifting helps him maintain his mental acuity and physical independence after he had heart surgery and received a pacemaker in the year 2024. As part of his Pump Club presentation, he routinely posts films from his home gym, which serve to inspire a great number of different individuals. His message will be crystal clear by the year 2025. If you want to age gracefully and live a life that has significance, you need to be consistent rather than intense. As he approached the age 77, Arnold discussed his greatest regret, and it's not what you may expect. During an open and honest interview in 2025, Arnold Schwarzenegger said that his greatest regret isn't the fact that he didn't get the roles he wanted in movies or that he made blunders in politics, but rather the mental distance that he created between himself and his children while he was at the head of his profession. Arnold stated that the true wound that wounded him the most was not being completely there as a parent in 2011. He said that this was the wound that pained him the most about his situation in 2011. He said that his profession often prevented him from spending time with his family, and that he spent the last 10 years working to enhance the relationships that he has with his family. The candor that he displayed impacted admirers all across the globe. He now places a high importance on family dinners, celebrations, and quiet periods, which he refers to as the real trophies. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon